Hello, welcome to this exhibition match at the home of snooker, the Crucible Theatre in Sheffield.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. The first frame, Mark Allen to break.
Ronnie O'Sullivan breezing through to the quarterfinals earlier on, and of course he will now play Stephen Maguire. Well, Judd Trump's got some work to do when the players resume after the mid-session interval. He's trailing 3-1 to Anthony McGill. Let's hear a little bit more about the man they call the ace in the pack.
That's a shocker.
One. Six.
Well, it goes. Half a chance. What a tremendous pot.
That's great cue ball control. Excellent position.
7.
Very nicely done.
14.
Nicely onto the colour.
15. 20. 21. 28.
Now, can he drop this into the right corner? That's a top shot. Well played.
Great technique. Superb cueing.
29. 36.
A few more insights into the life and times of Judd Trump. What a player he is at his best. He hasn't been anywhere near his best in this match, and as we've heard from him
37.
in the build-up to this championship, he's not feeling his best, but he's got to find a way to stay in touch in this first session. He's under a bit of pressure now at 3-1 down.
5.
His highest break just 24.
42.
Judd Trump to
His
break.
pot success just 72%. Very mediocre stats so far for Judd Trump.
43.
Not the sort we associate with him. So he needs to lift his game in the second half of this first session. Remember, they come back tomorrow afternoon for session 2, and then Monday evening for the
Excellent
conclusion.
safety shot.
Ronnie O'Sullivan,
There's another
43.
sign that Trump is struggling a bit. His pot success from long range well below 50%. McGill's a very respectable 60. But nothing in those vital stats, Dom, that will encourage Trump at the moment. He needs to try and get this match played more on his terms, doesn't he, in the second half of this session?
Well, yes, but the problem is with that, you've got to be playing well. If Judd Trump wants to make this a bit more of an attacking match and keep the balls open, he's got to make sure he scores. And And here's his chance to do just that. I'm sure Judd would have headed to the practice tables to
He looks like he's trying to get the cue ball tight on the cushion
back
here.
in his game, try and pot a few good long pots to give himself a bit more confidence. But he will have set himself a bit of a target here, and that will be, I'm sure, to end this session at 4-all. It's a realistic target. It's too much of a fantasy to expect to lead it 5-3. He'd have to win the 4 remaining frames.
Meanwhile, that looked like a pretty lively bounce again off the side cushion. We've seen 1 or 2. But Trump has very rarely been in a position where he can score when he's in among the reds.
This isn't easy.
Freed up.
Brilliant pot, outstanding. They don't come much better than that.
This is where he's normally
1.
deadly.
9.
Yeah, one thing I'm certain Judd will look to do is to speed his play up, because Judd Trump playing at something along 27 seconds per shot. Well, that's just no good for him. Oh, well, is he on this red? Had that
16.
cue ball not just touched the pink, he certainly wouldn't have been on the red. There's an interesting stat. It says
17.
positional
Well,
success.
that's not
I think they mean
ideal.
Positional success.
He's not finished in a great position, that's for sure.
8.
Does Judd go into the reds here? If he does, he's got to be careful of the 3 reds below the pink. I think he spotted them. There could be a plant for the left corner, so for now he's playing for the loose reds.
22. 23. Mark Allen, 8. 28.
This really is tricky.
29.
That's a top shot.
He's certainly
1.
got the reds open here, Judd. This black is missable, but the good thing about it is he can play it at such a slow pace that he knows he'll block the pocket if it doesn't go in, so it takes the pressure off it.
Already by away his
Very
best break
tricky
of the
shot
match,
coming up.
which says it all, really.
That's a fabulous pot.
7.
The thing about a player of Trump's calibre is it doesn't take a lot, does it, for things to suddenly click back into gear. One really good break, and it could happen.
Perfect pace required for this shot.
Myself and Neil Folds were discussing the cue action of Judd Trump, which is a little bit of a
Nicely
roundhouse
onto the
cue
colour.
action.
8.
His cue points in one direction when he addresses the cue ball, but as he strikes the cue ball, it comes through in a semicircular motion. By the time he's completed the shot, the tip of the cue is pointing in an altogether different direction. And myself and Neil were just thinking, well, whether he's having a little bit of a problem now after all these years with that cue action. Difficult to say, but Judd is a complete natural. That's one thing we can say.
53.
And the other thing to be said is that, OK, the cue action isn't necessarily textbook, but look
15.
at the trophy cabinet. 11 major titles in 2 seasons. 2 more this season, which by his own standards has been disappointing. So he's doing an awful lot right.
Absolutely, and 23
Pace
ranking
is
titles
key.
for somebody in their early 30s is remarkable.
846 centuries in terms of his conversion rate.
Position
That's
looks good for a colour.
the equal of
16.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, who of course turned pro 13 years previously to
57.
Trump.
Looking to play this softly.
58.
And the moral in everything I'm saying regarding Judd's cue action
23.
and how natural he is if you are a natural player, don't tinker too much with things because it's clearly the way forward, in Judd Trump's case anyway.
He's lining this up into the left centre
do a lot
pocket.
of good, assuming he can finish the frame off. There's the plant he's looking
24.
We had a great shot of Judd's cue action there. The tip, as he was aiming the shot, was pointing one direction, but by the time he finishes the shot, it's pointing slightly to the right.
He's still got to be a bit careful here. This is frame ball.
31.
And in it goes. Look at what he was leaving if he'd missed it. But it goes in, and this frame is now surely Judd Trump's. Exactly the start he wanted after the interval. Anthony McGill went for the long red, got close.
32.
Left Trump this chance, and he's done the rest.
73.
And Philly's more than trebled his highest break in this match so far.
Wow, that's some comeback.
Impressive
Not better his
comeback,
best
and he's
crucible
looking
break,
pretty
142,
confident at the
way
moment.
back in 2013.
39.
But he can make his
78.
65th crucible century.
79.
The other four frames averaged half an hour apiece. This one over as a contest in barely 7 minutes.
87.
40.
94. 95.
It's not just the fact that he's won this frame, it's the way in which it's happened for Trump. The first three were a real test of will. Everything was a problem. This has been the opposite. This has been a return to the champagne snooker, which Trump is so capable of producing.
$103.
The yellow is irrelevant. A century from Judd Trump after his previous highest break had been just 20-something to close to within a single frame of Anthony McGill at 3 frames to 2 adrift. So Judd Trump back in contention here in style with a fine century break. His 39th of the campaign, which again by his standards is quite a modest return when you consider
That's
he
an
made
unforced
90
error. He'll be
last
fuming
season,
about
and
that.
of course his second
Mark Allen,
only
40.
to Neil Robertson in terms of the most in a single season, the only player aside from Robertson to have made a century of centuries in one campaign.
Great shot.
Turkish Masters champion this season. Produced, I think, his best spell of sustained snooker in the second session of that final against Matt Selt. Made a maximum in the process. But he also won the Champion of Champions in style, the
Thank you.
invitational
Take
event
seats, please.
earlier in the campaign.
Frame 6. Anthony McGill to break.
So Anthony McGill breaking off in frame 6. 3 more to come in this session.
Nicely done.
Trump leads the head-to-head 6-1, but this is the first match played over anything like this distance. All the others were best of sevens, and they haven't played for 6 years.
He's tempted by this red.
Was the year that Anthony McGill won his maiden ranking title, the Indian Open. He added the shootout the following year, which took him into the world's top 16. And it was 2017 when Judd Trump took his career to a whole new level, starting off with that victory against Ronnie O'Sullivan in the Northern Ireland Open final after he'd gone a year without winning a ranking title. And since then, it's been one long success story for Trump, adding the Masters and, of course, this World Championship to his CV, having won the UK Championship back in 2011. .23 ranking titles. He's tied with Neil Robertson in joint sixth place
tough
in the all-time list, just one behind Mark Williams.
Chance of a red here for Anthony McGill into the right corner, but he'll have to put a lot of backspin on the cue ball
but
to
not
avoid
quite.
cannoning of the ball, so it looks as though he's just playing the safety shot. Oh, that's not a back cannon from the green, but not quite a snooker.
Challenging pot along the cushion here.
Far too thin.
So close, but he's missed it. That'll annoy him.
Anthony McGill get onto a colour from this red. Don't know if
Ronnie
he'll risk
O'Sullivan,
trying to play a cannon
5.
to a red to hold for the black. Safety success identical. Look at 77%.
Yes, he's taking the pot on. What a great shot that is.
Just look at that for a positional shot. Superb.
2.
Great opportunity.
This was very well controlled. A lot of backspin on the cue ball to avoid
5.
cannoning any of the reds below the black. Anthony McGill would
Tough shot
love
coming
to
up.
somehow bring the black into play here because the pink's out of commission.
Tremendous shot.
He's cueing extremely well here.
9.
Seven.
This pot to leave his opponent requiring snookers.
Very unfortunate. Played the shot well, decided to go into them
Good trump 5.
purely because the black was too difficult to access. He needed the pink in play.
And he's missed it.
And how unfortunate. A lot of side spin on the cue ball there, so when it caught the bottom jaw of the pockets, it deflected straight
Mark
into the
Allen,
pocket.
9.
He's attempting
Is that the
to
third
sink
in-off
this
that
into
McGill
the
has
left
suffered
corner
in this
pocket.
session? One of them cost him the frame. Frame 2, when it looked as though he was going 2-0 up. Could have been a clean sweep before the interval, had it not
That was
been
a strange choice of shot
the
there.
unlucky in-off off the final
5.
brown, which was a great pot.
Well played. Good safety there.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
Yeah, that's a beauty. That's much more like vintage Trump, and of course he would have been helped by that tremendous century just now. Got his eye back in. He's actually hit it too well, if that makes any sense.
Normally when Judd plays that type of deep screw back with that much power, he gets a lot more action than he did there on the cue ball. Dare he take this brown on?
He'll be disappointed with that. He's looking at the pot into the left centre.
Six.
Well, it was a positive
Just
shot
this
choice
pot
for sure,
required
but
to
he was
win
some
the
way
frame.
off the pot, and so chance for McGill.
13. And the first frame, Ronnie
Seems to
O'Sullivan.
me as though Judd has come
That's
out
the
here
frame
from
in the bag.
mid-session interval, intent on attacking
Well, he's taken the lead here.
Anthony McGill, but
He has, but
the
it's
problem
only
is
a
he's got
slender
to
lead.
feel confident
Thank
enough
you.
to play
The
that
second
sort of
frame,
game and not make
Ronnie
mistakes.
O'Sullivan
And
to
Judd
break.
has missed a few pots, particularly in this frame, that have given Anthony McGill the chance to re-establish that two-frame lead.
Seven. Eight.
The winner of this will play the Kyron Wilson or Stuart Bingham in the last 8. They get underway tomorrow morning. And they actually finish a couple of sessions before this match, although of course there are only 2 sessions on the 25th on Monday, starting at 1 o'clock.
14. $15.
The black won't pot into the right corner, so having to
21.
concentrate on the pink again.
22.
Tricky shot here.
No, not this time. Close, but a miss nonetheless. I'm not sure what happened there, but
28.
that's a poor shot.
1.
$29.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 1.
Wow, that came out of the blue.
Anthony McGill.
Missed it by quite a margin.
29.
That's the type of pot you can miss when you have too much of an eye on the positional aspects of the shot and the cannon that had to be made.
Definitely signs that Trump is beginning to warm to the task. Yes, he's missed a couple in this frame, but he's got to be feeling a whole lot better for the century in the previous one.
It's a lot to ask to win the frame at this visit. Judd just had a look to see if the red nets the black. The pot into the right corner.
6.
If it does,
That looks very
would be
safe to me.
helpful, but he has a lot of an angle on the blue here, so you may well decide to cannon into that little trio of reds below the black to bring them into play. Still 24 points behind, so he certainly needs them.
He's playing the safety and aiming to get the cue ball tight against the cushion.
Nicely judged Cannon,
11.
and he's certainly on this red, but the black doesn't pot, so he's going to have to power this red in to try somehow to get close to the blue. That was a very heavy contact indeed, but Judd does use the old variety of chalk, and kicks are still a possibility for him.
Half a chance here. And he's missed that.
This is not easy.
Excellent pot. Superb.
Well, he couldn't have played that any better. Superb positional shot.
1. Eight.
He's lining this one up to the middle pocket.
18.
Good cut.
Well,
back there,
an
but
excellent pot.
Unfortunately,
Quality
Cannon on
cueing
the
there.
red was unwanted.
Really good.
Has a very difficult blue now into the centre pocket, or indeed in the corner pocket.
16.
I think, though, 12 points behind. The safety has to be an option here too.
17. 24.
Suddenly he's got his eye in with those long-range pots. Terrific. Absolutely
32.
thumped into the back of the leather.
23.
That percentage is going up for sure.
33.
I don't think this red pots, I really don't.
36. 37. 42.
24.
He's just looking to drop this in gently.
Judd was very clever there. I think he used a lot of side spin on the cue ball to try and create
43.
the potting angle, because it's very, very tight.
Well, he's a little fortunate there. Not what he was intending.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 43.
Judd has another awkward angle here on a colour. He's worked very hard to keep this break going. He really has. Pulled off some terrific pots.
This looks safe to me.
It's not getting any easier, this break, is it? This is very acute. This red into the centre, barely any pocket to aim at. It's got to be struck perfectly. Nicely done. A little bit of drag on the cue ball.
The
Just
black
wants to get
may
the
be a
cue
little
ball safe
straight,
here.
but he can play the blue plain ball and avoid the cannon on the pink. This will not run far enough,
won't
unfortunately,
be
for
easy.
Judd. It will have to be a safety this time.
35.
So into the lead by 5, 35 remaining.
Judd Trump, 35.
Another hard-fought break from Judd Trump, full of good pots to get himself right back in the mix in this frame.
He's looking at this red. Fabulous pot.
1.
Well, it's not quite a snooker, so Judd won't be happy. That was a really good chance to snooker Anthony McGill, but he can just see the edge of this red. If he plays it finely enough, he could snooker Judd Trump.
I think he's playing this with a lot of power.
If Trump was disappointed,
Not the shot he was
to get the
aiming for
snooker
there.
previously, he'll
He
be
really
doubly
needs
so
to
this
tighten
time.
up on his
There's
positional play.
plenty of margin
8.
to get McGill in trouble.
Absolutely, Phil. He had to get the snooker there because Anthony now can play the thin edge red to the left. Use the green as a stopper and get the cue ball right back down this top end of the table by the black spot.
Well, he's taking it on. Oh, so close. He needed some luck
Just
there,
about
and
a
he didn't
snooker,
get
but
it.
I really thought Anthony McGill could have done a lot more with that cue ball.
Mark Allen, 8.
Tricky pot, no doubt.
He's missed the pot.
This time he has got the snooker.
Well, if Judd can avoid cannoning into the green with the cue ball here, surely he should be able to snooker Anthony McGill back.
1.
And he has. Just the 5 points in this frame in favour of Judd Trump, I should say.
That's a really
So
good
it's really
split,
the
and
balance
this
is playing.
is a real opportunity.
8. Nine.
This time a lot of distance between the cue ball and object ball. I wonder if Anthony McGill here can play the red on the right hand side. Just try and drop it past that right hand centre pocket. Play the cue ball into the yellow, which would leave the cue ball somewhere there, and he may get the snooker.
No real problem here.
$15.
Well, he did that, but the red cannoned into brown and pink. So that's put the pink safe, which could be important later on in the frame, but good cue ball, as you can see.
After back-to-back centuries, either side of the interval, one from each player, we're back to the sort of snooker that characterised
22.
the first 3 frames. Tough, low-scoring frame, but every bit as important as the ones won in one visit, particularly for Trump, who's looking to tie the match up again.
Tricky pot coming up.
That's just magnificent.
23. $28.
A little bit of a negative safety there from Judd, but he did have to be careful with the red. It would have been easy to leave a pot on somewhere. But I wonder if Anthony McGill here can try and
29.
play the cube in behind the yellow.
He's looking to drop this into the middle pocket.
$35. $36.
Great play to get back into a frame that was looking dead and gone.
It's a good shot,
But
that,
this
from
is where the
Anthony
pressure
McGill.
starts to
I
mount.
think Judd can see a lot of this
I
red.
agree. I thought he was dead and buried in the frame, but he really has shown some fight.
Well, he could take the
39.
double on, and he's got it. Amazing. I thought he could only see about half ball.
Just the
on
colours
red
left
there.
now.
What a bonus.
Leads up to the blue.
41. $3.
Pace is
John
very
Higgins would have been proud
important.
of that one. Could be very significant for Trump. Should be.
5.
44.
Using the rest. Just need to control the pace of the cue ball here. Just a little short. Should be all right. It's the pot that just isn't quite as easy as Judd would like it to be.
Nicely on the blue.
48.
Well,
12.
Heart in the mouth moment for Judd Trump and his fans as that just wriggled off the jaw. But this blue should tie up the match.
17.
He's had to work incredibly hard in this frame again. But I think there are encouraging signs for Judd Trump. His long game has looked in better shape. And of course he made the century straight after the
So,
interval.
just
which
his blue
gave him
required.
that little spring in his step. And look at that little come on, barely perceptible in
No
the
way
of the
back
head
into this
there.
frame for his
He's
opponent
delighted to
now.
be level at 3-all.
53.
So the 2019 champion right back in it. He needed a good start to this second
Not an
half
easy
of the session,
one, but
and
a half
he certainly
chance.
got it with first the 103 break and then that nicely executed plant, or rather double, I should say, that set him up to clear to the pink.
Mark Allen, 53.
To peg back Anthony McGill. So 2 more frames to come in this session before they return tomorrow afternoon at 2:30. Of course, 13 is the target. Karen
Great
Wilson
shot.
or
That's a
Stuart
really
Bingham to
good
play
save.
the winner in the quarterfinals. Judd Trump hoping for his 9th appearance in the last
This is a
8.
challenging shot along the cushion.
Anthony McGill has made a couple of quarters and a semi-final here. Of course, he lost
Great
again
pot.
by the odd frame last year
6.
after beating Ronnie O'Sullivan in a decider in this second
This should
round.
be pretty straightforward.
13. And the frame, Mark Allen.
And that is the
So
frame.
Judd Trump
Well
wants to
played.
make exactly the start he wanted to. After coming
So,
back from
this
that
is the
20-minute
decider.
break.
We're down to the
Back-to-back
wire.
frames for him, very different frames.
Really feel the
This
tension out
century.
there. Everything to play
For his
for.
highest break was what, just 23?
Thank you. The third frame, Mark
in the
Allen
first
to break.
4 frames, but then a real battle before getting the better of Anthony McGill in frame 6 on the colours, helped by that double.
It's been a very, very strange session. Judd Trump's highest break is 103. His second highest break is 35. Anthony McGill, his highest break is 129. His second highest break is 30. What a
Thank you.
disparity.
Settle down, please. Thank you. Frame 7. Quiet down now, please. Judd Trump to break.
So, Judd Trump gets frame number 7 of 8 underway in this afternoon session.
Very tricky shot
3-1
coming up.
down. I think he'd have been delighted at for 4-all if he could have managed it, but now,
That's an excellent opening
in the
red.
last 2 frames,
1.
he could take a 5-3 advantage.
8. 9.
1.
That's the result he was after.
1.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 9.
Clearly not intended, but he'll take it.
Judd Trump 1.
He needs to be careful of not overhitting this.
He's managed to get out of the snooker, but there is a difficult pot available.
He's taking it on. Oh, wonderful shot.
Excellent positional play there. Inch perfect.
1.
Really well
Difficult
played.
escape, but there's a slight chance here that Judd could make a double into the left centre if he wishes to take it on.
5.
Red that's just the right of the cue ball. You may have to be mindful, though, of leaving a red on potentially for Anthony McGill if he didn't make the double.
Ronnie O'Sullivan, 5.
He's gone for the double. And guess what? He's got it. Brilliant shot from Judd Trump. There's 2 doubles now in the space of probably 8 to 10 minutes. Didn't touch the sides, did it? And he's on the black.
At one stage, Judd Trump's pot success rate had descended to 72%.
That's an excellent safety.
It's now up to the mid-80s. Still, by his standards, disappointing, but clearly going in the right direction.
9.
He's looking for the safety again. Who will make the first mistake?
One.
16. 17.
Good angle here on the blue to go into the reds. Just got to be careful. There isn't a plant in there somewhere. Oh, this is looking good.
You can just see the confidence returning in Trump's game, just the way in which he attacked the pack there. Smack on the nose of the pink, which is exactly
7.
what the game plan is with that shot.
23.
Definitely a different looking Judd Trump this side of the interval.
Again, a bad contact. But again, is it down to the chalk that Judd Trump uses?
30.
One of the concerns when this new brand of
Now,
chalk
can he drop
first
this into the
emerged
right
was
corner?
that you were more susceptible to miscues, which
Beautifully
perhaps is why one or two of the players are still a little sceptical.
8.
Would that be true, Dom?
Absolutely true, Phil, yes. But there have been quite a few modifications of this new variety of chalk, and I can assure you, having been using it for some time now, there are far less miscues that happen than once did.
Meanwhile, that's landed in typically awkward fashion. It's been that kind of session overall. So just the snooker. Trump protecting what he's got, which is a handy 32-point lead as he looks to take the lead for the first time.
Doesn't want to overhit this.
14.
He's in real trouble here, Anthony McGill. The red he'd love to land up against would be the red below the black, but how does he get there? With the red near the right-hand side cushion and the red near the left-hand side cushion, potentially in the way for Anthony McGill. The pink's doing him a favour here. If he can rest against the red near that right side
19.
cushion, the pink is blocking the only possible red that I could see for the left corner, so maybe that's an opportunity for Anthony McGill here.
I can't see any problems here.
20.
You'll need to play this with a lot of left-hand side to create the angle. The line looks pretty good, but is it a little short of pace? In fact, so much so he may still have left this red on.
$25.
One.
Position looks good for a colour.
26.
Eight. Nine.
Those two century breaks very much against the grain of the general pattern of this first session, but there's no question that Judd Trump has raised his level significantly in the last couple of frames and a half, and is now in a position to take the lead. Quite a turnaround from 3-1 when he was all at sea, really, due partly to
32.
how awkward the frames have been,
70.
and also by the quality of Anthony McGill's all-round game. Again, not quite in the centre, but in it
He
goes
just
off the
wants
jaw.
to slot this into the middle pocket.
23.
Yes, the interval in this match has made a colossal difference, hasn't it?
20.
33.
Judd Trump about to take a 4-3 lead if he pots this pink and one more red.
$30.
He's had to be patient and bide his time in this opening session. But we're beginning to see the kind of snooker from Judd Trump that we've seen an awful lot of in the last couple of completed seasons. And indeed, during this one, albeit that overall it's a campaign that has frustrated him. 2 big titles. No mean feat, given the standard and the strength in depth these days. The fact that he has felt frustrated is a measure of the stratospheric standards he set when he's been the dominant player.
Judd Trump, 44.
That's well played with the
Break of
rest.
44 to go with the earlier 31. Enough for Judd Trump. Anthony McGill
40.
not registering a point in that frame, and Trump for the first time this afternoon takes the lead at
He's
4-3.
aiming for the left corner here. Beautiful.
That's a wonderful, wonderful pot.
42.
Nice natural angle to leave the cue ball safe if he misses the pot.
So Judd Trump will be delighted with the way in which he's come out after the interval. 3 consecutive frames, including that century, which really set the tone for him because it allowed him to get his cue arm going really for the first time this afternoon. Just restore a bit of faith in his cue action, and his long potting has improved markedly. It's all come together for him, really, and it's now Anthony McGill who'll be feeling a little frustrated after the work he put in to
That's a
lead
careless
3-1.
shot.
He's now got to win this final frame to avoid falling 2 behind at the end of this opening session.
Mark Allen, 42.
Not an easy one, but a half chance.
Thank you. Settle down, please. Thank you.
What a
Final
fabulous
frame of
pot
this
that is.
session. Anthony McGill to break.
Judd Trump
One.
paying a good deal
It's
of
half a
attention
chance,
to his
but
tip
a
there
chance
ahead
nonetheless.
of this 8th and final frame of session 1.
Great shot.
And it seems to be working pretty well for him since they came back out for the second half
3.
of this opening 8-frame stint.
Four.
I was paying close attention there to the tip of Judd Trump, and it appears to be damaged to me right on the very edge of the tip.
9.
Seems to be an area of damage whereby the fibres are broken and they're sticking out a little bit, which indicates possibly a tear in the
10.
tip.
Just
How
wants to
big a
sink
cause
this
for
into the
concern
left
might that
corner
be for
pocket.
Trump?
Oh, huge, because if he plays
Down
a
it goes.
powerful screw-back shot again, it could cause further damage. It could be that Judd Trump may
13.
decide to have this tip changed.
That's never ideal, is it? Midway through a tournament, never mind the World Championship. But
14.
anyway, we'll see.
This is a tricky one along the cushion.
He'll be disappointed with that.
18.
We're less than an hour away from the start of our build-up to the evening session, and it promises to be a fascinating one between Mark
That was a
Selby
really
and Jan
tough shot.
Bingtao. Jan
And it hasn't
resuming
worked out all that
9-7
well.
in front.
Ronnie O'Sullivan 18.
That'll be on Eurosport 1, and of course you can watch Neil Robertson's first session with Jack Lazowski, a replay of their second round meeting last year here at the Crucible, which Robertson won on Discovery Plus.
He's aiming for the left
Very
corner
close. What's the damage?
here. What a top shot that is.
Well,
Great cueing.
look to certainty, believing a red there into the left corner. Has he left anything else?
I don't think he has, Phil. He's always been a lucky player.
He's
Judd.
going for the left centre here.
Yeah, you tend to get the luck, don't you, when you start playing well, as he has.
That's an excellent pot.
He seems full of confidence at the moment.
7.
Anthony McGill's turned to be somewhat frozen out in this match. Talking of Mark Selby, earlier on during his session with Jan Bingtao, he went over an hour without potting a red, and when he did, he almost immediately missed a black off its spot. But Selby actually
Pretty straightforward shot
played
here.
nicely towards the end of that first session, kept himself in it.
9.
That's a great red from Anthony McGill. Terrific red, actually, because when Trump missed initially, you would have expected a much easier one, but he's not held back there. Great cueing, particularly given that he'd gone half an hour without one. Yeah, Sham managing to win the final frame of that second session to lead 9-7, but you've got the sense that there's a whole
Not
lot
sure
more snooker to
why he
come in
played
that
it
one
like that.
before we know the winner. Mark Williams will
12.
play the winner.
So he just needs the brown here.
It would seem that there is only one of the loose reds that's actually
Mark
possible
Allen,
into
12.
this right corner. So Anthony deciding to go into them in the end twice. Incredibly, went into them the first time, glanced off them. Have a look at this. Goes into them there, and then again there. I don't think he's on a red. Very unlucky, really is.
This pot for snookers required.
Four.
Anthony McGill 10.
Anthony McGill's turn to have to exercise
Well,
some
I'm not
patience.
surprised he's taking on the long pot here.
Didn't want the cannon on the yellow.
Wow, look where he's left the red, though. He's left the red in a potable position for Judd. That was the biggest part of the
Mark
mistake that he
Allen
made.
4.
Anthony McGill
No
will
more
feel
than
now that
half
the
a chance
onus is
here.
on him really to win this frame. Trump, in some ways, has accomplished the mission of getting out of this session unharmed after a shaky start, being 3-1 behind. That's another great red, though, from McGill. To come out of it 2 in front would be a tremendous result for Trump. And for Anthony McGill, who was the better player, clearly
That's an
before the
error,
interval,
and
it
it
would
could
be
be
a big
very
setback
costly.
to be behind. So
Foul.
he'll feel the least.
Mark Allen 5.
He's playing
He's
on from
earned
this
his
position.
share of this session. And he's now got a chance to at least build a lead with a view to making that happen.
4.
Considering Anthony McGill's lost the last 3 frames since the interval, he's potted a couple of
Well,
very,
no
very
surprises
good
here
balls
with
in
the
this
long
frame.
pot attempt.
Oh, can he finally capitalise on that last
Excellent
excellent pot
cueing.
5.
and end this session at 4-all?
This is no gimme. Well, you can't question his cue power after that shot.
He's looking very sharp at the moment.
11.
Oh, wonderful shot.
I wonder if Anthony can pop the black here and just
18.
develop a few
Frame
reds.
and match, Mark Allen.
And that is the match.
Dear, dear, dear. And unlucky again.